going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in. Um, just bear with us for a second as we, kind of figure out um, all of this new technology that we're doing. We're coming live from our Link Media page on YouTube. I'm sorry, not on YouTube. We didn't do YouTube. On Facebook. I think the last time we posted any form of content, you couldn't go live on Facebook. So that still wasn't a thing. Um, but we're here. For anyone that doesn't know, my name is Lawrence White. Um, Instagram, Twitter handle is below me right now, Lens the Visionary, and I'm here with my co business partners. You guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves. Chris, go ahead and go first.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, I'm your boy Chris Theodat. Have a wife and kids. I love Jesus. I love beats.
All right, Ariel.
What's up, everyone? I'm Ariel Chanel. I am a singer, songwriter, and business partner for the Link Media. And yeah, I don't like beats, but I like musical beats. So I guess that works. I like it.
Boo.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the whack part about doing this on Zoom is you never know when someone's about to say something or if they're not finished. So we end up talking over each other. But the reason why we're here now is because everyone's been talking about the Smiths, Red Table Talk. Jada Pinkett Smith brought herself to the table, and she had a conversation with her husband about what had been going on, or kind of shedding some light to us on what had been going on between her and August Alsina. I thought that there were some things to be talked about on that. I didn't want to do it in a Facebook post and have to keep typing back and forth. And seems like there was a little bit of interest in that conversation, so it kind of led us to here where we're gonna have that conversation now. And it's not just going to be us, even though we're the ones on screen. We want to hear from you guys in the comments. We want to hear from you guys, even if you're interested in being on the video, if you want to pop in on the Zoom, even just to speak your piece for a moment, we can send you that link as well, because like I said, we want this to be a conversation. One thing that I love about talking about things in general with other people is the accountability that you have in hearing someone else's opinion. Someone that may see something that you don't see. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I didn't want to just say what I had to say about it and then kind of, put it out there. I wanted to hear from other people. So definitely, if you are interested, we're going to try to, keep an eye on the comments as well. But if we miss you and you really want to, like I said, be a part, hop on the video, definitely, send me a message or make some kind of noise so that we see you, right? So we're gonna go ahead and hop right into it. Talk about some family business that ain't our family.
Oh man.
All right, so I don't want anyone to think that we are judging them, because that wasn't my intention in any part of this conversation. I don't believe that either of you would have that intention either. But I mean, you know, we might not, but we can't just hop into our thoughts about what happened without talking about what happened for the people that may not have seen the video itself, which is available on Facebook. The Red Table Talk is available on YouTube. I'm sorry, I keep saying YouTube. That's what inaugural stuff is for. Shaking out all those cakes.
Hey, get all the cobwebs.
But yeah, it's available on Facebook Watch. Not a sponsor, not an ad. It's just that's where it is. So what do either one of you guys can start first. What did you guys think overall? And then we can get into the specifics a little bit later.
So I'll preface this right with saying the internet is the most public place, on the planet. Like everything you put out on the internet is public and is subject to be commented on. Right?
Yeah.
So with that, I do have to warn people. I tell people all the time, you can't put things out on the internet and then tell people to mind their business.
That's true.
So, so now that the business is out there, somebody must mind it. So here we go. But no, I think so. All right. So what happened? Okay. So getting it all out there, August Alsina, who's a singer, very, not a lot of people listen to or heard of, like, he makes great music. But I don't know that he has like the biggest following. He put out some music, and this music led to an interview where he spoke about a relationship he had with Jada Pinkett Smith while the Smiths were married. Apparently separate, but still married. So now, don't let Twitter get a hold of that kind of tea, because Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the social medias, all the blogs, all the websites, all the outlets are now talking about this thing. And now, fast forward, she brings herself to her own Red Table, which, if you watch the Red Table Talk, they're normally 40 minutes long. Hers is 13 minutes. So,
Not even. It's like 12 and 30 seconds.
I was generous.
It was definitely a lot shorter than the other one.
And 2 of those minutes are credits.
Facts.
I digress.
And another 4 of those minutes were her saying everything but what happened. So she's talking to her husband. She's talking to Will about, this relationship she has with August Alsina, calls it an entanglement. And these are where the jokes come from. And yeah, so that's that. So now, 12 minutes of her talking about an entanglement she had with August Alsina. And I guess that's kind of the setup for now, where we could say how weird the whole situation is.
Yeah. Ariel?
I don't even know what else to say.
All right, we'll give Ariel a second.
Because Chris's recap is like so on point and hilarious. But I will say, going with what Chris was saying about putting things out on the internet, this is like the worst time to put anything out on the internet. As everyone knows, people don't got nothing to do. Like they are bored. They are looking for things to look for. Like, so if there's any time that, you're going to try to act like something's not what it is, or want to say, this is my business, mind yours, 2020 is not that year. Like 2020, I know everyone makes jokes about like hindsight is 2020. Listen, they were talking about how this happened eons ago. Well, this is the year of hindsight for them because it's all coming out. So that's what I gotta say before we get into it.
All right, so let's kind of walk through this thing
Inch by inch,
step
row
by
by
step.
row.
Yeah. So like Chris mentioned, Red Table Talk. I'm all right. So just to be completely transparent, I don't watch every episode. I've seen a couple of them. I've seen the clips. I'm not trying to portray like I'm the hugest fan of anyone in this, but you know, every once in a while, if there's something interesting, I'll look at it, and like I said, there's a few things that we can look at in this conversation. The timing of it is definitely one of those things, and I'm trying to not get ahead of myself because there's something there is something that I want to say, but just not yet, right? What did you guys think about, or maybe I should ask it this way: did you guys look at their body language at all? Like, did you pick anything up from them?
Yeah, it was uncomfortable.
I can I can actually even share a little bit more because unlike Lawrence, I have watched some Red Table Talks since the first season. So I'm a little more versed on the Smith body language and how they normally do things. But this is not the first time that Will and Jada have been on screen together. And if you watch the Red Table Talk video before this one, it was a Father's Day video with Will and Jada. And they were so far apart. It wasn't even the red table, it was the red couch, because they were sitting on a couch. And they were literally on the polar opposite ends of the couch, not touching, not moving, like stiff as a board. And somebody, actually one of their crew members, had like asked for them to get closer together. And when I tell you, it was like when you tell a child to do something that they don't want to do, like that was their scooch in, like that was it. So, you know, their body language has been off for a while, and letting you know what's kind of going on. And like watching Will in particular during this Red Table Talk, his jaw was so clenched while he was talking. I thought that man was going to have to go and, you know, get something like a guard to help with his bite afterwards, because as he's talking, you could see how tight his jawline is. And that's a lot.
Yeah. I think that was one of the things that I wanted to kind of pull out of this whole thing was not just with his body language, but even with some of the things that he said. Like, there were definitely times where he wanted her to say more. And I mean, he even I never rely on me to quote anyone exactly, because I'm not that, like, my memory's not that. But he was like, you know, let's call it what it is. Let's say what it is. And she was like, well, I did. You know, it was an entanglement. He was like, an entanglement? Word?
Yeah.
Word B?
That moment right there was interesting because he's like trying to push and pry some more. And she's like, nah, this is what I'm saying. And it was super uncomfortable because I'm like, not in the sense of like who's in charge here, but in a sense of like, yo, wait, like, who's opening up to who? Like, what is this really for?
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah.
So basically, essentially all this quote unquote red table talk did was say, "Yep, something happened," and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just for the sake of, and this is just my opinion. It was done just for the sake of saying that something was done. You know what I'm saying? And I guess we can kind of just kind of go right into the meat of the conversation. Um, for me, right, and I'm not trying to, um, like I said, I'm not here to judge either of them. I'm not here to judge their relationship. They do what they got to do. That's them, right?
So,
Um,
can I say this real quick though? So,
yeah.
I think the caveat to this, right, is I don't know that it's judging if we're basing it off of what came from them out of their mouths. So there are some truths that can be said and some truths that can be revealed from everyone saw this. We all saw the same thing. We it looked uncomfortable. It looked unhealthy. It looked troubling. It looked troubled. Like we can see. So I don't think making quote unquote judgments based on what we've seen is a bad thing here.
Yes, you're 100% true on that. I was gonna say something that was more so um, how watching them affected me, right? And I'm using affected in like a loose term. Like my world wasn't shattered, but it brought some things up, right? And so for everyone that is watching or will watch in the future, just to kind of put some light on everything, um, between the three of us, we're all in kind of three different stages of relationships, right? Ariel is single, never been married. Chris, like you mentioned earlier, he's married. He has a daughter. I am divorced, right? So, from my personal experience, I saw a lot of. I don't want to say a lot, but I saw some familiar things at that table, right? And this is where I wanted to make sure that I let people know I'm not judging her specifically. I'm not judging them. It's just I saw some familiar things, and I saw some familiar things from her and from him, right? Um, one of them being, or I'll say, seemingly the lack of accountability, right? We already mentioned every other Red Table Talk is like half an hour or more, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But now it's time for you to bring yourself to the table and we get 10 minutes of uncomfortability. You know what I'm saying? I guess the best term I can put into this right now is keep that same energy. If you're going to bring other people to the table and you're going to pick at what they've done and what they've said, right or wrong, you gotta allow yourself to be picked at the same way. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's unreasonable to say that she would be able to do it herself, which is why I think it was important that Will was there, right? And Will should have been the one to kind of pull more out. But when you have someone that is set on not revealing what they don't want to reveal, that uncomfortability is just going to sit there and hang in the room, right? And once again, this is from my personal experience in being in that. Like, so for me,
Please don't do that.
so for me, there was a point in time, and no disrespect to my ex-wife, I have no beef with her. So, you know, you guys know, but just in case anyone seeing this, wants to take this to another place. But there was a time when
Red Table Talk, Lawrence.
no, we're not going to the red table talk. I'm gonna get in my red car and bounce. But but there was a time when we were before we were divorced, we had separated for a short period of time, and I remember having a conversation with my ex-wife, and she was trying to monitor what I would say about our situation or who I would talk to. And I had to look at her and be like, fam, no, like this ain't the same no more. You, because she knew she messed up. She knew that she was in the wrong. Don't get me wrong, I was not perfect. This is something we can talk about in the future. I was not perfect, but just for the situation that is at hand or that was at hand, you know, she made her decision. She put us in the situation that we were in, and then she would try to tell me how to communicate with people. You know what I'm saying? Now my situation ended a different way than Will and Jada. Um, from what we saw, what we're told, they got back together. They're better now. I love it. That's wonderful. Excuse me, but
Hey, did that look
that's
better?
like
That's why I'm sitting here like, I'll wait my turn, but okay.
I mean, no. Don't wait your turn. If ever you want to say something, just interrupt me. We can always go back.
They're
So
healing.
what was
I
it?
wouldn't say better. They're healing. There's a difference.
Well,
Are they?
Those were their words. I'm just using their words. They're healing.
I only said it like that because I'm kind of going off of what they were saying. Like they feel like
He
they're
also
better.
said he was gonna get revenge. That's his words.
That's another thing.
We'll get
Put it
there.
in that way.
Yeah, we'll
No, but I'm just saying like because they were giving us the I can't think of the right word I want to use, but they were basically kind of putting it out there like, we went through this, we dealt with it, we're here now and we're together and we're good between each other. Whether that's universally better or not, that's not for us to say. Like I can only go by what they said. So yeah. So that was one of the things. The lack of accountability was one of the things that kind of stuck out to me.
Can I say something about the lack of accountability before you move on? Something that about the lack of accountability that jumped out to me, especially with how Red Table Talks are done. Normally, Red Table Talks have more than just two people. It's usually Jada's mom.
I was gonna say that.
Jada, like there are multiple people there to help the conversation go the direction that it needs to go. And being that it was just Will and Jada, from my perspective of how if I were to be in the production room with them and helping to make a suggestion, I would have suggested that they have another person there, because it also still shows that lack of accountability. Mm-hmm. Because how do you really have accountability when the person that is supposed to be holding you accountable in that situation right there is the person that was betrayed?
And wouldn't Jada's mom have been one of the people to be like, we're not doing this.
What is it that you're she would have been able to say, your husband is asking for something, so it would be polite for you to give him what he's asking for in this situation, since we're talking about healing. Right. But the fact that she decided to say, Like, oh, I said what it is, and that's it. And like you said, Lawrence, and Chris, like, because it is her show, because she is the executive producer of it, she's the top. So if she says that's what we're going, then that's it. Like,
let me ask you this,
mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna ask you. So, I definitely, took note of that as well, right? So, but on one hand, you have, this is a conversation that really only a husband and a wife can have. Like, that's just one side of it. I'm not saying I agree with that 100%. And on the other side, it's not like the other two hosts of the show are, it's not like the other two hosts of the show are just some random people. You have their daughter and Jada's mother, right? So like Ariel said, if no one else, her mother could have been like, listen, you're not going to go back and forth, right? If she even would have done that, right? Do you think that the other people, well, if there were going to be other people there, it should have been Willow and her mom, whose name I really don't know, or should it have been someone else? Someone objective, I should put it that way.
That's a good question. I think so. I'll say with Willow, it might be a tough situation to like be in the middle of that. So I think with Jada's mom, I think because she's usually there and she does have like a more, I guess, quote unquote traditional perspective on things. I think she might have brought that to the situation. I think my other question is, do they always come out on Fridays or?
Yeah, they always come out on
Fridays. For some reason, I thought Wednesday. I don't know why. But yeah, so I don't know who should have been there, but I think it just being them two. I don't know if what could have been accomplished was accomplished, but I don't know that. I don't know what the intention behind it was supposed to be, so we really can't speak to that. I will say though, and I'll take this a different way. If I'm being honest, I feel like Jada displayed some real like predatory behavior. Like,
all right, that's a separate thing that I wanted to talk about.
The next pin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put a pin in that. Put a pin in that one. I'm sorry. Did you have more?
I think on that, but if we're gonna put that as an aside, I'll come back to it.
Yeah. We'll come back to that. Right. You have more
on who should have been there? No.
Also, shout out to the comments on Facebook. Yeah. Thank everybody for your comments. I see we have some comments about entanglements, so we're gonna get there. And also comments about them being separated.
Right.
Saying that they're confused because they were separate, so they're still confused. So we're gonna get to that too, and talking about the whole separation piece.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted. That's why I was asking Chris to pause for a second, because I wanted to make sure we acknowledge the comments.
Right. It was separated, but in the same house.
We're gonna get there.
Okay.
We're gonna get there.
Yeah, that's yeah. So all right, Ariel, answer the question real quick, and then we'll hop down to the comments.
I don't forgot what was the question. Repeat it.
If there should have been other people there.
Got it.
Who should it have been? Someone objective or them? Willow and her mom.
See, I think that I don't really know how to answer this question, because personally, I think that if they were going to talk about, like it all being in the air and healing and having someone objective there, because there are multiple sides, I personally would have liked it to have been something that maybe waited a little bit longer and not just rushing to put something out because the media is talking about you. So that way they can actually get August in there as well. Because
again, he wasn't going up there.
I didn't say he was going up there. I'm just saying, like, so that it is, like we said, more people at the table, because August has been on the Red Table already. Like, he has a Red Table Talk episode, and they are best friends in that episode. So if you are, you know, going to share and talk about healing and talk about, you know, clearing the air, it's kind of hard to clear the air when like all of the air is in another room with the door closed and you're just like sweeping something over here and all the dust and the dirt is over there. So being able to have August in the room as well, because the way that Jada was talking, it was like, I don't know why people are making a big deal about this. Like, we're cool. And, you know, I'm cool with August. He cut it off. Like, it wasn't me. Like, so it's these two sides of just like making this like invisible, everything is fine. And so if that's the case, make it so that you really can have healing and you have all parties really, because since everybody's talking about it, like August said something, you said something, like really sit down together. That's a Red Table Talk episode I'd want to watch. So I would say have August in the room, and you can, and I believe you could have Willow and the mom, because the whole thing was, it was a family affair at first. Like, they all were invested in August's healing, and that's what they all agree upon. And somewhere along the lines, it went from, we're going to help this guy as a family, to I'm going to help this guy, to me. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's where for myself, I was on one side of the fence, and then I slid to the other side after thinking about it, because I think when it comes to a husband and wife dealing with major issues like that, they have to deal with it themselves, right? It's like, yes, it affects the whole family, but they have to figure it out themselves first before, you know, you start bringing everyone else in. But that was just my initial thought on the whole situation. And I don't think that really applies here, because for them, it happened, you know, such a long time ago. Or they said like 4 years or 5 years or something like that. And then that's when I started thinking, well, you know, well, Willow's their daughter. It wouldn't be, you know, it could be, you know, an uncomfortable situation, but really that's like the point of healing. Like, if you say you want to get healing, you have to have uncomfortable conversations. You have to hear from the people that you potentially hurt. You have to hear from the people that they haven't been hurt, but they love you enough to tell you the truth about what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, all right, I'm not going to get into another story, but I just remembered how a situation where my family trying to help someone else turned into some sexual healing for them and someone else. And it wasn't a good feeling. It wasn't a good feeling at all. And if it wasn't for the Holy Spirit, things would be different today. But like I said, we're not going to get into those details. But yeah, I think, you know, I really would like to hear. I usually don't like hearing from Jaden Smith. It's just, you know, it's nothing personal. It's just, But if this was a family thing where, you know, August came in and, you know, he was in a bad place, probably physically and mentally, and him being a part of their family, you know, kind of helped him come to another place. I would like to hear from Jaden. I would like to hear from Willow, even Willow's older son, whose name I also don't remember. Mom,
Yeah.
Not right? His name
it is Trey. Yeah, he's like Will the third. Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea his name was Willard as well.
Yeah.
Um,
So hold up. So that's the thing, right? Like, it would be very interesting to hear from them because, from well, at least Jada and from Jaden and Willow, right? Because I think August is introduced to the family through them. Like, he's like Jaden's friend or something like that, right?
yeah,
So
that was my understanding.
I think that's
So
it's just, it gets super weird there, man.
yeah, like that would suck. That would
Yeah.
suck if, one of my homies over to meet my parents, and then he's there all the time. You know, I come down,
And he's
come
not
out my
hanging
room
with
one
you.
day. Yeah, like I come out my room and he's making eggs, like
No,
Tyrese's
no, don't
mom's
say it.
baby boy. Like that would suck. I would hate that.
How about you want
Let's
some
go
eggs?
to the. Yeah, I'm like, nah, you don't either. Get out my house. Um, Shout out to everyone in the comments. Let me see. Tope said first, but Jada said he already got his revenge, implying he has had his own entanglements. Yes, that was a definite implication.
That was a
I've
shot.
heard.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, and that was one of those things that like I mean, I think we've all heard people say things about the Smiths in general. And I even saw a post today that showed Will with an actress whose name I don't remember. It was a white lady. She looked like about 3 or 4 other white ladies in Hollywood. So I don't know. No disrespect, but I'm just saying, from my own view, I don't know who exactly she is, right? And I don't want to say a name that's not her name, but the post that I saw was kind of made it look like she may have been one of the entanglement. But because there's no like concrete evidence, I don't like, dwelling on stuff like that. I don't like pointing to stuff like that as a reference. But yeah, that was a definite implication.
But also
Murder the gal.
that, like, their situation started in an entanglement. Like, he said himself when they first got together that he liked Jada, he wanted Jada, and then he went and married his first wife. Like, and then so there's so much to their story. Like, we can't even we can't say what is what. Like, it could have been a shot to that because he really, like he said himself, like he talked to Jada, let Jada know how he felt about Jada, and then was like, I'm going and marrying this woman over here, and then went back to Jada. So
yeah, that kind of touches on the what I wanted to say about the next comment from Murder the Galdem. They were separated. I'm still confused. I think I can speak for the three of us in saying that we believe that if you are legally married and then you get separated, you are still legally married, right? That's not everyone's view. Once again, from my personal experience, and I'm only saying this because, there are some people that haven't heard these stories and stuff, but when I was going through my separation, I handled it very differently from my ex-wife. She, I, I think she had about 3 boyfriends during that time. Once again, I'm not trying to throw her under the bus. It's just, I think of things and I say them. I don't mean anything negative by it for those that don't know how I talk. But
listen, that's your last disclaimer.
All right. You know who you are.
That's your last disclaimer. We're not doing
that.
The
story is the story. Just let it rock. It is what it is.
I be feeling so bad because I know how I talk, right? I know how.
Bless you in your tender heart. Just say what you gotta say.
All right. I'll try my best. But but yeah, like people view these things differently, right? What they decide to do, what they think is right, like that's them. It's not gonna make sense to us because it's not us, right?
Yeah.
If it
And I,
did make sense, then we would probably ride with it, but we don't. It doesn't make sense to us.
I will
Um,
say for like just going off of their comments, it seems
hmm
that Will did not have that like clarification that you are allowed to go and be with other people. And so even though it was said like, they Jada put it out there like, August was just saying that to clear his name as a homewrecker. Like he wasn't trying to be a homewrecker. Like the piece that's
yeah,
hanging in the balance that wasn't really said is that, or what the body language and like the words that weren't spoken clearly said was Will did not agree that while they were separated that they would be with other people, but they were separated. He did say that in his mind he was basically done with her, but they were in the process of trying to figure out if they were really done or not. So,
hmm
that being said, like it wasn't a yes, go do whatever you want. From what I understood, it was we are separated because I think I'm done with you, but we're not divorced because I don't know. And so I think that's where that
yeah,
like that came in.
yeah. But I think even with that, um, because we're not them,
Hmm.
we can't really say for sure.
Well,
You
of
know what I'm
course.
saying? Because yeah, I mean, it definitely seemed like from other times in the conversation that he he wasn't really cool with what was going on, but
Mm-hmm.
he probably felt like he couldn't say anything. But at the same time, he said, "I was done with you, like I was out."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which to me made it seem like it kind of came off to me like their separation was because of something that she may have done or said, like she may have initiated it. Let me say it that way, right? Um, and he and like, but so like I said, when you're in that mindset of I'm done, like this is it, you know, once you get there in your head, like you can go either way, do whatever makes sense to you. Like so, like I said, my ex-wife, when she left me to go be with someone else, right? My intention was because I had told her from jump, I'm never gonna force you to stay with me, right? If you want to leave, I'm never gonna try to make you stay anywhere. So when she said she wanted to leave, I let her go, right? My intention at that time was to work on myself so that, when the time came, she could come back to a better person, right? Because I I was raised, divorce was not an option. Um, I never wanted to be divorced, like that whole thing. So my intention was, I'll be here when you come back because that's love. You know what I'm saying? Like that's real unconditional love, right? Nobody wants their wife to belong to the streets. Let's let that be clear. But you know, when once again, married people stuff, you deal with stuff that you never thought you would have to deal with, right? But then came a point in time when I realized that us not being together really was the best thing, right? And biblically, I had and I had a I was able to be divorced with a clear conscience, knowing that I was not doing anything wrong um, to jeopardize my calling. I wasn't doing anything wrong to jeopardize my walk in any way, right? Because I wasn't the one that stepped out. I wasn't the one that made all this stuff happen, right? So and then fast forward a little bit more, when she realized how badly she messed up, she called me and tried to come back. And at that point, I was like, nah, I'm straight. You're good. I forgive you. We're cool. We'll be cool. But no, you're not going to be my wife anymore. Right? Now, so in my mind, we were done, but we were still married. So I still, even though I lived by myself and I went out and I had fun, I met people, I enjoyed my time. I'm still, friends with a lot of people that I met, during that time. I love them dearly. Even though I moved like a single man, I knew that legally I was still married. So I did not initiate or even entertain anything that could have kind of, muddied those waters. You know what I'm saying? But that was me. That's because that was important to me, right? So being in that mindset of, well, heck, I'm living like a single man. This is done. Like, I think that's a fork in the road where I could understand. I could understand why, someone would go the other way, because the way I've gone and the way that I've continued to go it's not easy and it's not fun. And I'm going to leave it right there.
Yeah, but I think that also speaks to like a set of values, right? That like everybody don't got. And I think, I think I don't know who said it, but someone said it, like we can't expect like non-Christians to act like Christians. We can't really expect, we can't put more on people than they display. I'll say it like that.
Even if they are Christians.
Even if they are, right? Even if they are. But even that, if they are, we can hold them to a standard because they profess it, they claim it, they say it. If they've not said it, then all right, you just doing what the world do. It's what the world do.
That goes back to the accountability conversation. Like that's just the whole piece of that.
Right.
And holding them to that standard is just being accountable one to another as brothers and sisters in the faith. But
yeah, let me pause for a second. Pause the conversation for a second, because we have a couple more people that have started watching since we started. First of all, thank you to everyone that's watching. This is our first time getting back together in this capacity in a couple of years. So it's just, I feel great, just having this time, and the fact that you guys are even tuned in just for a second to watch our conversation is dope. But we want you to be a part of the conversation. If you want to hop in on the Zoom call for a little while, let us know. We can shoot you the link. We didn't want to put it out there publicly because we don't want, a troll to just go ahead and hop in. But yeah. But if you don't want to get on camera, just put a comment on the Facebook chat, and we'll definitely try to get to it as soon as we can. I want to say Tope came back, and he put another comment in there. He said, and before I read Tope's comment, Candace, thank you for telling me his name. I didn't see it until after we had went past that part, but thank you for giving me that information. But Tope said, didn't they say that there was a lot of therapy going on already? It sounds like the purpose of the show was just to say their side of the story. As far as they're concerned, agree or not, they've dealt with this issue. Yeah, exactly. They said that this situation was like 4 or 5 years ago, I think. So they've already dealt with it. So it feels like they kind of just put it out there just for the sake of putting something out there, because they know that they just can't be silent about it. But that doesn't mean that healing has actually happened. you know, and a lot of times, um, a lot of times, husbands, when they're trying to do the right thing, and women too. Let me change how I'm saying that. I was only saying husbands because I've never been a wife, but people, people
tell me when
that
you become a wife, Lauren. So I would like to know that one. I'd love to hear that story.
that's that's not a thing. Um, but when people are in a relationship with someone else and their desire is to live at peace with them, a lot of times they'll just eat whatever is bothering them for the sake of that peace. You know what I'm saying? And I think with Will and Jada, um, what they kind of said at the end of the video about um, Jada not believing that Will had the ability or the capacity to love her unconditionally. Um, one, I think that says a lot. Period. You know, you have to be pretty self-aware of how jacked up you are as a person to think that you can't be loved completely by another person, right?
Um, I disagree, but
With which
I
part?
wouldn't say about being self-aware. I think that it's more so leaning towards not so much self-awareness, but like awareness of the lies of her life. So
Wait, again, it wasn't clear.
like
Awareness of the what?
so the fact that she believed that she couldn't see, anyone who could love her that way, like how she was saying, if you were to say to me years ago we would go through X, Y, and Z, and I would believe you would still be here for me. I think it speaks more to what she was talking about, of like the areas that she wasn't healed in. And
Okay.
she's
Yeah.
able to say it now because she's like past that hump, but at the time it was her buying into the lie of her not being lovable, and like, not being lovable with her flaws and all. Like,
Okay. Yeah. I see. I see what you're saying. I
mhm.
see what you're saying, and I agree with you more than I agree with myself.
Sometimes we just
Yeah.
reword things. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. I yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna retract my whole statement. I think you're right because we depending on the things that, like, I don't know Jada's history. I don't know her family history. I don't know what she's been through. Ariel, you may know more because you've seen more of her shows, so she may have said something in the past.
I know way more than I would like to know. I'm realizing that as we keep talking, but I do
Yeah.
actually, I know more about Jada's life because I used to work with somebody who knew her personally. So that's a little bit,
Oh,
and they
really?
talk about it. But yeah, and that's how I knew that, even for Jada, she grew up without her actual biological father in the house, like, which is a known
Okay.
fact. Her mother's been married several times. So those are all things that play into life, how you grow up, what you see, seeing a broken home, seeing broken marriages. It affects what you take on, because unfortunately we as human beings believe like it's more than just like we're gonna get diabetes because grandma had diabetes. Like, we'll believe marriage is not gonna work for me because marriage didn't work for my mom. And so
Yeah.
those are things that play into how a person grows up, how they're raised. And I believe that that could be a possibility of where that statement was even coming from, knowing that my mom and dad didn't work, my mom and her next husband didn't work, my mom got another husband, like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely see, that was one of the things that, like I was saying, I don't know, like I didn't know her history, so I didn't want to assume anything. But having, especially as a, like, as a small child, having people you know, come in and out, of your life, and you're not old enough to understand exactly what's going on. All you know is you've created a bond with someone, a potential father figure, more most likely, and then all of a sudden they're gone. Someone else comes in, you build that bond, they're gone. Because a child's world is only as far as they can see. Like, I think that's why they start to take that on to themselves and be like, well, they're leaving, it's my fault. And this is just me thinking. Like, I'm not a therapist or anything like that.
I mean, I think you're hitting it on a nail a little bit, because like, even like, because look at how it's been transferred. Like, and this is kind of to my earlier point, right? Like, her, whatever her childhood was, I mean, we don't know all of it per se, but like you said, her dad wasn't there, did multiple stepfather, whatever the situation is, right? But look how, like, the fatherlessness that she's had transferred to her, quote unquote, healing someone who is now fatherless and in need of help and in need of, like, that's a really, like, messed up situation. Like, I think above all else, right? Like, the entanglement jokes are kind of funny. All right, great. The situation is kind of weird. Cool. But I think on top of this, right? If someone comes into your house, right, and they're broken, and they're mentally broken, physically broken, they're hurt, they're a mess, and
Yeah.
and you go from helping them out to your word entangling with them, you're a predator. Like, because
Yeah.
if this was a male to female situation, right, where like the male was, if Will had done this to some young 25-year-old girl, we'd get him out of here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's and it's messed up, right? Because like, a therapist can lose their license for the same transgression, right? Like, there are, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so much messed up with that, right? Like, you're using,
they could lose their license, they could potentially go to
go to
jail.
jail. Yeah, man. Like, there's so much wrong with that. Like, and I get it. Yeah, he's a grown man. He made grown man decisions and all that good stuff. But like, yo, that joint is a mess. Like, that is like, it is like, it is predatory behavior, and it is behavior that suggests to me that there isn't as much healing as we think it is, because like, if we're under the assumption that hurt people, even if this was 2, 3, 4 years ago, right? She's still hurting. Like, she hurt him because out of a place of her being hurt, and she even says that, like, she wanted to feel good. She wanted to, it came out of a place of her being hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's that that kind of leads me to another question, a different kind of question. Um, and I guess it has to do with unintentional predatory behavior. How should we look at that? Because honestly, I don't think, like you said, if Will had done this, even if he had the same reasons why he did it, the conversation on the internet would be completely different, right? We're not the internet. We're three friends. What do we think about this, right? I'm not one for immediately canceling everyone. I definitely think people do need to take a step back when they realize they've done something wild like that. but I don't know. I guess how do you guys think? How do you guys think this should have been? How do you guys think this should be handled? Even just for her, like later on, or just people like her.
I think that when you say the like unintentional predatory behavior,
Mm-hmm.
I personally believe it goes from unintentional to intentional when action happens. So because she actually
multiple times.
well, yeah, like, and because she took the step to actually act on it, like it goes
Yeah,
from unintentional. Like,
yeah.
if we were in a court of law, they would say, no, ma'am, that's, you knew what you were doing. So with that, if it just slipped off my tongue. But I think that the thing that shows, like what Chris was saying, that it really wasn't actually closed on her end is her response to how it ended. Because she didn't say she ended it. She said August ended it. And that August decided that he had to cut it off. And she was like, he cut it off. And that shows that there's a potential in the air that if he were to come back, what would happen? Because she's not saying, I cut that relationship off. And we know that if something is predatory or if something is unhealthy, I'll speak for myself, I have an entanglement with unhealthy food. Like, I have an entanglement with Chick-fil-A. And so I know that if I say, well, they cut me off because they closed on Sundays. Like, that's not me saying I ended it. That's them closing on Sunday. Like, I have to make, like, I have to make,
I'm going on Sunday.
Because the Lord's Day needs the Lord's chicken. So I will be right there, right after service. But that's not the case. If I'm saying, I know there's something wrong, I know I have to change, I know I can't live this way anymore, I'm going to decide not to drive to Chick-fil-A, to delete the app off of my phone. If I feel like I'm having that craving, reach out to somebody and say, hey, I'm struggling. Like, there's so many steps that we know have to happen to get there. So I don't know. I think I've drifted somewhere in the answering of the question, but I don't really believe that it was like a actual like healing completion in that area, just based off of the answer of, well, he cut it off.
Yeah. Just to shoot down to the comments real quick. Chris Phillips says y'all should watch his YouTube series.
A shout out to you, fam. Chris,
I was gonna say, I guess this must be one of your cousins. But so yeah, shout out to Chris. I don't know which part of the conversation we were on, so I'm not sure which person you're referring to. So yeah, just let us know which person you're talking about. But yeah, I think you made some dope points there about unintentional to intentional, because if we are to be honest about it, we even if we don't know why we want something, all right, so I guess I'll just say what I assume from someone like Jada, right? She seems like she thinks way too much for her to just move off impulse. Because there are people that do that. There are people that are like, I want this now, I go get it now. You know what I'm saying? So she doesn't seem like the type of person that wouldn't try to think about why is she feeling the way that she's feeling. You know what I'm saying? Now, because you know how I am, I throw bail to everybody. I throw a line to everybody. Like, I can still see how, someone could be so lost in their own feelings or their own confusion about their feelings that they find themselves with someone else, right? They're separated. In her mind, it's a break, like Ross on Friends, they were on a break.
The baby.
So in her mind, there's nothing wrong with it. There's the attraction there. I mean, it's Jada Pinkett. Let's be real. Like, she been fine forever. She gonna be fine forever. Like, it is what it is, right? And especially for a younger guy, like, they may not be quick to turn it down if it's presented. You know what I'm saying? It's a weird situation, especially if that young man thinks he has to okay from the husband. He's gonna be like, well, I want it. He's cool.
Yeah.
This is weird, but I'm riding. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that whole based on his answer, he ended it because his sister died. Talking about. I think I did hear that. That was, for those watching, that was Chris Phillips again. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I think I did hear someone say something about that, but I'm not going
to
lie.
His life is pretty wild. I agree. You should go watch it. I watched that. It was interesting. That's a whole another hour worth of talk, huh?
It's August Alsina's YouTube series. That's who he's referring to.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
All right. Yeah, that whole unintentional to intentional was pretty crazy. So what are you guys thinking about it so far? Or no, what was one of the points that we said to put a pin in, come back to? I know you both had one.
I think we ended up coming back to it.
Oh, did we?
We talked about a lot.
Yeah, we did the Predator thing. That was mine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well.
And we talked.
Did we miss?
I had notes of what I wanted to talk about, and I think we hit most of them. Talking about something that I wanted to ask was one thing Jada said when talking about what happened. She said that she doesn't look at it as a transgression, but just something that had to happen so that a lesson can come out of it to heal. What are your thoughts on that?
Chris, I'll let you rock for it. If you have something.
Kinda. I'm trying to phrase it. So I think it's just not taking responsibility, man. Like, so again, we don't really know what the goings on in their marriage are, So if, let's say us as friends, right? If I do something that's seemingly hurtful to my friends, and I say, I wouldn't say it was hurtful. I would just say, this had to happen to deepen our friendship. That does, like, what does that do for you? Like, it doesn't say, it doesn't, I don't take responsibility for. I'm not taking responsibility. And so there's 2 points, right? One, whatever they have going on, that's on there. 2, I guess she doesn't have to take responsibility in public. You know what I mean? She doesn't owe us responsibility. But again, you went so far as to put it out there on your platform, being the executive producer, creator of the show. Like, you went so far as to put it out there. Why not, go all the way and just be responsible? Say, you know what? well, it was, she says 4 years ago. It was a mistake I made. I regret it. So the problem, I think her unwillingness to admit it was wrong tells me she doesn't feel it was wrong.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Or even, yeah, I think I agree with you. So she may not feel it was wrong, or she doesn't want to admit that she's wrong. And I think it even kind of touches back to the conversation that we were having, well, not earlier in this conversation, sorry. We were talking about Will not keeping her accountable, during the conversation, right? If we're talking about healing, we have to talk about pulling out the truth, as ugly as it is, as painful as it is. Like, it's something that has to happen, because, and it has to happen completely, because especially for the person that's been hurt, or the victim of whatever situation, there's always going to be something in their mind. And depending on who they are, depending on how they handle it, it could end up festering, it could end up growing, it could end up poisoning their mind, and we're talking generally. I'm not saying this is what's happening with Will, but these kind of things happen, which is why, once again, someone, at least one or two other people, should have been there to call her out on her BS, right? Because I can't remember the exact phrasing that you used, Ariel, but when you said it, all I thought of was dancing around the issue. Matter of fact, Candace,
she might not have wanted to be called out on her BS.
Yeah, I don't think she did. Candace said deflection from the truth. Like, yeah, that's it. Someone pointed the truth at her, and she was like, nah. She hit him with the Mayweather shoulder lean. You know what I'm saying? And
and also, Chris said the same thing. He said it's like a transfer of pain. Jada may be healed, but Will didn't look too healed, nor does August. So it's like that deflection of, well, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And there was one more thing that I wanted to say, and unfortunately, I think it left my brain. I'll bring it back up if I think about it. We have another comment from Chris Phillips. He says it looks more like a transfer of pain. Okay. Oh, did you just read that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. With Zoom, every now and then, like, a part of your voice is muffled or muted, and it brings you, like, I must have missed that first part, so I'm sorry. So where's this lesson?
Yeah, I don't think it was a lesson. I think it was legit. Just, all right, I want to say something because the public's talking about it. So let's. There's no lesson here.
Chris, I'll tell you what the lesson is.
Mm-hmm.
Pick a better side, Nick. That's her lesson.
But you want to know something? I saw someone write. When I saw it, I was like, oh, Lord Jesus. That they said, that's why your side, like, you should always be your side. Like, has it, like, I mean,
right. You, like, can't be the side's main.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Like, you can't be the side's main. Like, you got to be the side's side.
So, as well. Right. It's like, if they're your side, you can't be the side's only.
You just.
Yeah, I hate the whole side situation.
Also, can I also say, like, we also don't want this to be a situation, right, where, like, now Jada comes out some years later and is like, well, you heard about August, but you don't know how many of these little scragglies Willow brought through, and Willow brought through, and like, you know what I mean? So that's the other part of this, right? We don't know what happened on the other side, because they did say, oh, you got me back. Okay, you already got your revenge. So we don't know how many of these situations happen where he was wilding out too, and it just, he picked better side pieces clearly because it ain't come out the way, this one came out.
Yeah. Cleo joined us late. I don't know if that emoji is a crying face or a sweat. Looks like anime sweat.
It is the
Cleo,
crying emoji.
Not
yeah,
anime.
we're still if you wanted to hop on and join us on video, we can shoot you the link. But if you just want to put your comment or question in the chat, we will try to get, or whatever point you want to make, just put it in the chat and we'll read it. Chris had me laughing, and I think it says the link laughed at his post, but
Because we did. We all
said,
laughed. I laughed.
okay. He said the lesson is always have an NDA. Yes. And Candace said, so people are appetizers now? No, they're not.
Sometimes.
They never.
Listen. According to 80s music, the definition is a part-time lover by Stevie Wonder. So,
people are not side pieces. They're not appetizers. That's the word that I was looking for. Yeah, none. Well, I'm not gonna speak to y'all. I don't do the side situation. It's too much work, and I'm not a young man.
It's not worth it.
So, yeah.
I'm single for a reason. No time for all that. Nobody got time for all that.
Yeah. If Cleo came back and said, I don't feel like Jada was fully transparent, and that bothers me. Yes, 100%. I think it bothered all of us. And really that was kind of the whole thing about the whole conversation that kind of sparked me to make the post that I made yesterday about there needing to be a conversation. Because I feel like, once again, if the tables were turned and you had Willard on one side and Jada on the other, all of the reactions, all of the memes, everything would be complete. I think the only thing that would be the same, I don't know if you guys saw the meme of Jada's face on Future's body looking in the mirror. It would be Will's face on Future's body. That's the only thing that we would have, in this Venn diagram. That's exactly the same. But women would not be talking about, women or people wouldn't be making light of the whole entanglement phrase. You know what I'm saying? Ariel?
So Candace said on Facebook, I'm far from an option. I'm either a main course and dessert, or you could find another restaurant. I had to read that one because I agree with you 100%. You can drop that 100 emoji on that one.
Why does everybody want to be food?
You missed when I compared Chick-fil-A. It's great.
Oh yeah, that's right. You had to step away for a second.
I did.
Food is food. We had a whole conversation about how food is my entanglement. So that's why.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
How long have we been on here?
Almost an hour.
Yeah. No, it's been a little bit longer than an hour, which is kind of dope because it definitely
snap.
didn't.
It's almost 8:30. It has. I can't tell time.
Yeah. And I haven't eaten dinner. So did you guys have any final points that you wanted to share?
Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other's gold.
What is that from?
A circle's round, it has no end. That's how long I want to be your friend. That's what Jada said. That's from Girl Scouts, but no, that's not my last point. I
Just
would
that person.
I would say the number one thing that I would take away from all of this is everyone, let's do better as Black people in this time, and let's get the help we need and get therapy and get real healing, because I personally am a strong advocate for healthy relationships, regardless of if you are in a Black love relationship or whatever it is, whoever you're supposed to be with. Like, you want to be your best self first for you and then for your legacy, your family. So let's do the work to get the healing that we need, because it hurts my heart to see these situations. It hurts my heart to see, over and over and over again, the transgression, like, conversation. We've seen it all through the years. And I know that this won't be the last one, but let's not try to make it a habit. That's my last thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, I would echo, yes, do better. That's definitely a thing. I think also the amount you disclose on the internet should, just keep your business off the interwebs. I'm saying that, saying that, Jada didn't say enough and she wasn't transparent enough. And I agree. She wasn't transparent enough. She wasn't open enough. She set out with an agenda, and that's what happened. So we got whatever her agenda was. And that it's what we got. All we can do is speculate after that. But try to keep your business off of the internet, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I could really add anything other to what you guys have already said in your final points. Let me just because they've been rocking with us for pretty much this whole time, I just want to read these final two comments from Chris and Candace. Chris said, "If it was Will, his career would be destroyed. The image created would not sustain something like this." 100% true. I believe it's 100% true. And Candace said, "Jada took advantage of an eager young man down on his luck, so she could control the situation, and it blew up in her face." Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. And one last one with Cleopatra. I think the reason why people are making light because a woman finally did a man dirty in public. Like men have treated us for so long. Not condoning it, but it is a far point to make.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That's that hurt people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's a vicious cycle, and that goes into the whole healing thing. Like,
but it's funny, right? Because the hurt people who hurt other people never pick on people their own size.
That's a fact. That is a fact. Yeah, but also I think people, especially Black people, we just make light of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking as someone that makes light of everything, like, and this is a whole nother conversation to be had. But yeah, this is a whole nother conversation to be had. But I think the people that have survived the most have the best sense of humor. You know what I'm saying? Because there are things that I go through now, or that friends will go through, and I'll see them. And even with Ariel, like, there's been times in years past where she'll act like the world was ending, and I would literally laugh in her face. She knows I love her. She knows I got her back. She knows, I would do whatever I can to help her. But I also knew it wasn't that big of a deal.
It's also vice versa, so it's fine. So.
Healthy, very healthy.
It was very healthy. That's the way all three of us rock. We just laugh at each other. It's great.
Very true. Very true. Was it laughter is like a medicine?
It is.
So I'm gonna heal like your.
I can't. Ha ha ha.
All right. It's getting late. We're starting to. I tend to wild out pretty reckless when I get tired and hungry. So we're gonna wrap this up. So thank you everyone for tuning in, commenting. We're gonna make this video available to be watched again on YouTube and on Facebook. So even if you have something else you thought about and you want to comment again, go ahead and comment because we will reply. The caption or the title for this video is "Y'all Not Ready for This Conversation," the pilot. That's the caption because we are going to be starting a podcast called "Y'all Not Ready for That Conversation," where it will be the three of us plus one guest, where we have the difficult conversations that everyone says nobody's ready for. That goes for stuff between men and women in relationships, whether it's a romantic relationship, family relationship, church, people that have been hurt by the church, even in I'm pretty sure I can speak to you two with this as well because I know y'all aren't punks. Like, I want to have conversations with people that disagree with me. You know what I'm saying? We want to have all of these conversations. So if there's a topic that you guys want to, hear us talk about, if there's anyone that you guys want to have us talk to, let us know in the comments, let us know in our DMs. In the meantime, we're going to be working on all the back end stuff to make sure that we bring this to you in the best way we possibly can. And I'm excited. Like I said earlier, it's been a good minute since the three of us have been together in this capacity. We are friends. We have been around each other. We have seen each other. But as far as working together on any project with the Link Media, it's been a minute. So I'm excited for what we have in store. And, thank you. And, I love all you guys in the comments. You guys, you want to say your goodbyes?
Yeah, I would just say, hit those follows. You see our Instagram tags, Twitter tags, all that in there. And if you turn the @ to a cash, it's a cash tag. You know what that means.
Not on mine.
That's
different.
Oh, man.
Let me know if you
right.
Please. Please let me know.
But yeah, man, follow us. There's more stuff we talk about in our personal, and we just be having our own personal journey. So if you want to see the personal journey, hit that follow button.
Indeed.
Yes, and as the lady of the group, I like to say thank you all for just rocking with us for over an hour and a half. That is amazing. Amazing. I'm truly grateful that you all spent this time, your Sunday night, with us. And I know I can't wait until the next one.
Indeed. All right. Good night, y'all. We'll see you.